everyone. We are the FI group. The topic is self-assessment and benchmark. Students' names are Galdames Estupinian, Patricia Carolina, López Coreto, Wendy Stephanie, Martínez Mira, Gabriela María, Mejía Martínez, Alejandra Beatriz, Martínez Guarita, Carmelina Nisset, and Navarro Rivera, Mirna Rebecca. Let's start with the first standard. Standards-based instruction. The standard-based instruction have two stages. One of them is proposed and the other is created. The desired results depend on students and the teachers too. The main idea of this standard-based instruction is the students need to follow actions that the teacher have for obtain desired results. As a reflection that students need to pay attention to teacher says in the class on some activities that teacher leave. The second, standard-based assessment. The main idea of this standard is like this based assessment. Teacher can do any activity and check at the moment for give the result to students. But if you have bad grade, don't worry because this teacher need to say this grade. But for this assessment, it's necessary to evaluate each student.
Hello, my name is Gabriela Martinez, and now I'm going to explain about learning standards. Learning standards could be considered as the factor reform strategy, given that they are relatively recent historical development, and they are generally intended to improve the effectiveness of a school, the quality of consistent of teaching, and the academic achievement of a student. Whether they accomplish this goal remains as a subject of debate. Learning standard has three main standards. There are content standards, identifying and set the essential knowledge and understanding that should be learned. The second one, performance standards, describe the ability and skill that learning are expected to demonstrate in relation to the content, standards, and integration of the 21st century skill. And finally, learning competency reflects to the knowledge, understanding, skill, and attitude that learners need to demonstrate in class or lesson or in a learning activity. Then we have content standard, performance standards, benchmark, and learning competency. The standards can be presented in many ways. You can have content standards, benchmark, and even performance standards. The first challenge is understanding what each term means. It is difficult to define all the key words without the term overwhelming. Some states have posted all the different types of standards, along with performance standards and benchmark. It is therefore important that we can understand the different types of standards to different between content and performance standards. Now I will tell the difference between of them. Content standard is about what a student should to know and to be able to do. Content standards are skill, value, and attitude that the students should learn, and skill, value, and attitude will be the measure of the quality of education. Performance standards. Performance standard has performance indicators that the knowledge, skill, value, or attitude in real life or related situation. The performance standards use the indicator in the use of a specific knowledge, skill, value, or attitude in the real life. Also, performance standards is used for plan for individual instructions to help students. Also uses as the basis of measuring a student progression. Benchmark, identify the component of the knowledge, process, skill, concept, principle, or idea identified by a content standard. The benchmark standard compares the student's performance among countries. Learning competency. The learning competency needs to demonstrate in every class or lesson in learning activities.
Advantage of SBA. The main idea for this using SBA include provide a stable and continuous assessment with a pressure reduced, reliance, and a standard test improving the reliability of the test items. So we have 5 advantages. The first one, students identify clear objectives for the class. Number 2, the students' grades reflect their performance in the language. Number 3, the grades the students receive have meaning. They are not just numbers but feedback. Number 4, fewer students fail and receive low grades. Number 5, the nomenclature communicates the place on the path to proficiency, not complete the task. And this session invites as a teacher to provide a stable assessment without pressure to improve the reliability of the test. The next slide, please. A standard-based assessment creation. The main idea for this session is to complete the 3-step correctly. Check if the student's learning is correct. A strong feedback loop can also develop between you and your students. So we have 3 steps. Number 1, consider common core state standards. Number 2, your school graduate profile. Number 3, your own values as an educator. In this section, you can be more confident that the work you are doing in the classroom is directly linked to what is the most important. Finally, standards-based in assessment offer the opportunity to building a stronger foundation and core for the teaching and learning. The next slide. According to the video CFR and language assessment, the main idea is to provide shared basis for the reflection communication. Among the different patterns in the field include those involved in teacher education and the elaboration of syllabus, curriculum, guidelines, textbooks, examination. The member states of the Council of the Europe. So the CEFR organized language proficiency in 6 levels, A1 to C2, which can be regrouped in 3 groups: broad levels, basic user, independent user, and proficient user. And that can be further subdivided according to the needs of the local context. The levels are defined through can-do description. This basically intends to provide a shared basis of the reflection and communication among the different patterns in this phase.
So, according to the video assessing general language proficiency, the main idea is to evaluate a good command of the language. There are many tests which help the teachers to evaluate how much the students test achieved in the understanding of the language and put in practice in real life. So in this video mentioned 3 ways very important the teacher take. The first one is that the teacher takes into account to develop his test are the student have ability to read, to write, to listening, to speaking, and real situation put in practice. So the second way that is very important is to think of the ability language as an interactive way with other students and put in practice when the student is speaking whatever topic or whatever book or newspaper. And so the third way is to identify the student have knowledge of the common current of the language and include their grammar, vocabulary, and how to communicate appropriately in real situation.
Hello, my name is Wendy Lopez. In this moment, I want to explain the approximate time to move from one level to other. Well, it depends each level because each level has some requirement to move from other. And the purpose is that in each level, the student can comply with the lesson plan that the teacher designed. For that reason, it is necessary that the student understand step by step each class. So, for example, in the level A1, the time approximately is 90 to 100 hours. In this level, the student learn basic to answer basic questions about personal details, and so in each level increase the time. For example, if you can see in the level A2, the time is around 180 to 200 hours. And well, the next, please. So now I'm going to talk about the international benchmark. One of these is WALI. This test introduces children to everyday writing and spoken English, and I think are an excellent way for them to gain confidence and improve their English. The tests are writing around familiar topics and focus on the skill needed to communicate effectively in English through the four skills that, as you know, listening, speaking, writing, and reading. And is designed for a student of 7 to 12 years old.
Okay, good evening. So, well, I'm going to continue with the 12th primary, and this test measures your student academic and social English language skill in 3 key areas: reading, listening, and speaking. But also, for example, in the reading and listening test, is the step 1. It's designed for young students at the beginning of the stage of learning English. And reading and listening is like test 2 is designed for young students who have acquired some communicative English skills. And a speaking test is suitable for young students at various levels of English language speaking and profiles. And also, there is a square, for example, the test administration. The institutional testing school requests the administration dates and the institution for their students. And speaking tests, they are going to contact your local network office to find of testing dates and location. And the testing method is a multiple choice and is constructive response. Test delivery, the student have to need a paper delivery, digital delivery, or remove protocol. Digital delivery or remove protocol. In the scoring, and this case in the scoring, the step number 1 is 1 to 4 a star for each section, and step 2 is badges for each session. And then we are going to explain a little bit about the TOEFL Junior. This test measures your student English language skill in 4 key areas, for example, listening, language form, and meaning, reading, and speaking. I'm going to explain to you a little bit about that, but also we have some summaries about that, or some characteristic about this kind of evaluation. So, and the TOEFL primary program offers it's like the junior, but in this case it's for the age of 11. The TOEFL junior tests are an objective, measurable, and test point the student strengths and challenges, which inform present and help you monitor progress. But also the test measures your students' English, and also they can develop the 4 skill, as I mentioned before. And well, this type of test helps the student measure English skill and prepare for higher education. And English, right? It's a good way. So the TOEFL Junior standard is about the section auditive comprehension, that is 42 questions, and the rating scale is 200 to 300, and the time is 40 minutes. And also we have the grammar is the 42 question too, and the time is the same, 200 and 300. Rating scale, but the student have 25 minutes, and finally they have the reading comprehension, that is 42 items. The rating scale is 200 and 300, but the time is 50 minutes.
Another benchmark is TOEFL ITP. Another benchmark is TOEFL ITP, International Testing Program. Assessment Series is a leading English proficiency testing program for age 16 plus that allows you to measure in 4 skills. As an example, reading, writing, and structure, and listening. For each part of them, you need some minutes for do it. Like for the writing, you need to do 50 questions. 1 minute for question, and listening as well. And structure, you need to do 55 questions and approximately 15 or 20 minutes. Another benchmark, IBT TOEFL, internet-based test of English as a foreign language. This test is characterized by some questions related to academic topics and business. You need to know about some topics related to business. The TOEFL is the most accepted English language test in the world. This type of test is like the same of ITP because have the same structure. Each part have some minutes to do it or for answer the questions such as the writing and structure, the listening, and the reading. But this IBT TOEFL focus on your knowledge about some topics or the knowledge that you have about the business.
The next benchmark is TOEIC Bridge, a fair and objective measure of English proficiency for beginning to lower intermediate level learners. The TOEIC Bridge test enables you to verify your current level of English language proficiency, set your own goals, and monitor your progress in learning English. This exam evaluates listening comprehension and reading comprehension. A certificate is delivered with a score based off the level A1 to B1 of the Common European Framework of Reference.
So the another is TOEIC. It's a test about the listening comprehension and reading comprehension. So the reading have a duration 120 minutes and the second section 200 questions in 200 questions and 45 minutes. So the test of English for international communication, international standards test of English language proficiency. So the Cambridge is assessment international education. Some characteristic is the second oldest English speaking university in the world. So they are independent and separate institutions from the university itself with a high level of automatically. ATLE is that evaluates some levels proficiency, including some skill about listening, speaking, reading, and writing in different level of proficiency. So it's very important to analyze different level in practice, in practice in the students.
And thanks for your attention. And that's all for our group.